Is the Keychron K10 Max keyboard suitable for productivity? In this video, I'll be unboxing and reviewing it to see if it can get me to switch away from my trusty old CoolerMaster MK750 keyboard that I've had for many years. I'll also be going over the customization options available for it with the Keychron launcher app as well. It'll be no small challenge, especially with a change of key switches as well, so let's find out. First, let's unbox it to see what's included. Starting with the box, we've got an image of the keyboard along with the key switches and what the name of the keyboard is. On the top we've got the branding, and again on the bottom, and on the side we've just got the logo and same on the left. Then on the back we've just got some details of the keyboard. I'll peel this plastic off. And get that out of the way, and it just slides open. There we go. And just lift off the top. Then we've got some foam. And then a quick start guide on the top is the first thing we see. Pretty self-explanatory. And just a warning to make sure your switches are in the right place. Let's have a look at the accessory box. Alright, so first we've got some additional keycaps. Those will be the Windows keys and whatnot. A screwdriver and an Allen key. A keycap and key switch removal tool. A USB-A to USB-C cable. And an extension adapter, which has the 2.4 GHz USB dongle installed already, but that can be removed. Just take the keyboard out and put it on one side. Got a getting started guide, and that's it. Okay, let's move on to the keyboard and get it out of this bag. And we'll say it's got some heft to it. We'll just have a quick zoom in. On the back edge, there's not really much there on that side. Then we've got the USB port and two sliders. One of the sliders is for the keyboard mode, so Mac or Windows, and the other slider is for what connection type you want, so wireless 2.4, Bluetooth, or wired. We've got the feet underneath. Got two options there. And that's it for the unboxing. Now let's move on to have a look at some of the specifications of the keyboard. The K10 Max is a full-size keyboard which is available in multiple layouts. There are multiple layers to the build of the keyboard, including some sound-absorbing foam. The one I bought has the UK ISO layout with RGB backlighting. It includes the Keychron Super Red pre-lube switches and PVT keycaps. Both the keycaps and switches can be replaced easily, and the switches are also hot-swappable. There are also options available for ABS keycaps, different backlighting, and Keychron Super Brown or Super Banana switches. There are 22 preset RGB lighting options, with more customization options available via the Keychron Launcher web app or a QMK compatible app that supports the keyboard. Connectivity wise, it supports wired, Bluetooth 5.1 and 2.4 GHz wireless to a Mac, Linux or Windows system. When using Bluetooth, the polling rate is limited to 90 Hz, whereas both wired and the 2.4 GHz wireless dongle both support a 1000 Hz polling rate. The battery size is 4000 mAh, which Keychron estimate to last up to 4 weeks. Keychron lists the keyboard weight at around 1.53 kilos or 3.37 pounds. There are 4 custom macro keys that can be assigned to things like opening an application, for example. These are located on the top right of the keyboard. Interestingly, they have the same symbols as a PlayStation controller. Lastly, there are 3 typing angles available. These are 3.43 degrees, 7.26 degrees, and 10.06 degrees. The typing experience of the keyboard is really nice. The keycaps are smooth, but with a little bit of grip. The symbols don't feel like they stand out, so that helps with being able to glide between keys easily. Key travel with the Super Red switches is nice, I was previously using Cherry MX brown switches on the MK750 and they required more force to activate than the reds. As for the noise from the keyboard, there's nothing much for me to say here, so I'll let the keyboard do the talking and you can judge for yourself. Pulling a keycap is easy to do. Simply use the supply tool with the end shown and then slide it down the keycap you want to remove until it grabs the keycap. Be careful though, as sometimes it does pull the key switch out as well. Good job this is a hot swap keyboard, eh? To replace the keycap, simply line it up in the hole the right way around and then press down. Tap the key a few times and that'll do it. Now let's remove a key switch. Just like pulling a keycap, removing and replacing a key switch is simple to do. With the keycap removed, use the other end of the pulling tool and grab the switch by the left and the right sides. Squeeze on the two sides of the tool and pull the switch out. Here's a quick look at the switch. To put the new one in, grab it by the red stub or whichever colour you have. Check that the pins on the bottom of the switch match the orientation of the holes on the keyboard. Also, check that there's no bent pins on the bottom and then insert it. Push down on it a few times to make sure it's in. After that, put the keycap on and that's it. The first thing I'll point out is that the Keychron launcher software does not support Firefox or Safari. If you try to use it, you'll be shown a message that you need to use Chrome, Edge or Opera. It's annoying, but that's okay I guess. Once I got Chrome installed, I went to the launcher page again and clicked on Connect as per the instructions on the screen. The K10 Max is one of the keyboards that needs to be connected via a cable for it to work with the software. As I was using the 2.4 GHz connection, it informed me that it wasn't supported. I switched over to the cable connection and it was all good. Once I was in the app, I changed the layout language to match my locale. After that, I went to the firmware menu to see if there was an update, which there was. The process to update the firmware is easy enough, but it could be made easier. For example, those that are coming from say a Logitech MX Keys or similar keyboard, the process is more involved than just a simple install new firmware by clicking here. You have to follow the on-screen instructions instructed or you might run into trouble with the update. Once it was done, I reconnected the keyboard and noticed that there were some new menu options available. I'll go through those later. Something I would also like to see is some release notes in the UI for new firmware, especially when there's new features included. Lastly, after I finished updating the firmware, I noticed that the key bindings I made whilst I was experimenting with the software had all been reset, so make sure to have a backup of them. With the firmware updated, let's start having a play with the software. First, I'm going to look at reassigning a key. Reassigning keys is very easy to do. Simply click on the key you want to replace, and then find the key you want to replace it with, and click on it. You'll then see that the key has been updated in the key map. You can create a number of macros, and they can be assigned to any key on the keyboard, although there are 4 dedicated macro keys on the keyboard. To create a macro, first give it a name. In my case, I'm going to name this OpenX code. Then, in the configuration, you can either record the macro, which basically monitors what you do with the keyboard, and then adds an entry for what you did, keystroke by keystroke. One thing I did notice is that it didn't seem to record the spacebar inputs when I was experimenting with this before recording the video. In this example, I'll set it up manually instead. First, I'll click on the plus button to add a step. In this case, I wanted to press down on a key. Then, I selected the left Win key, as I couldn't find the left command button on this list. Then, do the same again, but with the spacebar. After that, I added a release step for each button. Once that was done, I added a delay step to allow Spotlight to fully load. The delay time is in milliseconds, so I went with 200. Then I added a text step and entered xcode.app. This is the full name of the Xcode app so it doesn't accidentally load something else. Finally, I added a press down step for the enter key, followed by a release step for it as well. Finally, click on submit to save it. Once that was done, I then clicked on the key that I wanted to assign it to, which was F16 in my case, and you can see it changed to M0. Now, when I press the key, Xcode will open up. And that's just a quick example of how you can set up a macro. There are many things you can set up as a macro, so I'd suggest having a play with it. But overall, it's a really good feature. Moving on, the backlight can be configured via Keychron Launcher, or you can use one of the 22 presets that are built into the keyboard by pressing the light key, which is next to the macro keys on the top row. Taking a look at the backlight settings, you can make some changes to the built-in modes, although they are limited in what you can do. Some allow you to set the color and brightness, and some allow you to set the brightness and speed. Here are all of the modes that are built into the keyboard. 0, none. 1, solid color. 2, breathing. 3, band spiral valve. 4, cycle all. 5, cycle left right. 6, cycle up down. 7, rainbow moving chevron. 8, cycle out in. 9, cycle out in dual. 10, cycle pinwheel. 11, cycle spiral. 12, dual beacon. 13, rainbow beacon. 14, jelly bean raindrops. 15, pixel rain. 16, typing heat map. 17, digital rain. 18, reactive simple. 19, reactive multi-wide. 20, reactive multi-nexus. 21, splash. 22, solid splash. 23, per key RGB. And 24, mix RGB. In the per RGB settings, you can set the RGB backlight color for each key. Turn the slider to on, click on a key and set the color and effect you want to use, and then save it. Mix RGB allows you to set up 2 backlight zones on your keyboard. I didn't look into this that much, so if it's something you're interested in, it is there. Indicator light I couldn't really test, as the only option for it was for numlock and I'm on a Mac which doesn't use the num key. I just have a few other things to go over about the backlighting in general. First, if you want to turn the backlight off or on, press and hold the function key and then press the light key. You can cycle through the built-in presets by pressing the light button when the backlight is on. If it's off, it has no effect. You can also adjust the brightness by pressing either F5 or F6. Finally, remember the backlighting is south facing. This means that if you swap the keycaps to some that allow the light to pass through the keycap to light up the symbol, it might not work all that well on this keyboard. The keycaps on this keyboard I got did not allow light to pass through, which is fine for me. I did take the escape key off of my MK750 keyboard and tried it on this one. Whilst it just fit, the amount of light that got through wasn't a lot, as shown in this image. Now, that might just be the keycap design from the MK750, but it could be something to consider if you want to replace the keycaps. The snap action menu I didn't spend any time in. It just seems to give priority to the last key that was pressed in combination with another one. Personally, I don't have a use for this feature. The quick start menu allows you to download the Keychron Assistant. I didn't use that, so I can't comment on how useful it is. The key test menu allows you to test the keys on the keyboard. Feedback is just a form to send Keychron some feedback. Advanced mode allows some further customization for debounce and timings for sleeping the keyboard after no activity, at least I think that's what it does, and sleeping the backlight. Lastly, the settings menu lets you set the language, view the information about the keyboard, and run notes about what happened in the session. Oh, one more thing, to back up your keyboard settings, click on Export in the Key Map menu. They'll be saved to a file locally so you can use them to restore the settings later on. That is done by clicking on the Import button in the same menu. Having used the keyboard for about a week, I can say that I like the feel of the keys and the travel time of the switches. I haven't had any issues with the 2.4 GHz dongle connection, which I prefer to use instead of Bluetooth from past experience. The polling rate is also higher when using either the 2.4 GHz connection or the wired connection. It's 1000 Hz on those connections versus 90 Hz when using Bluetooth, so there's less delay. I usually keep the keyboard elevated using the highest angle. That's my personal preference, but there are 3 angles to choose from so you can decide for yourself. Just as an added bonus as well, the wrist rest from my MK750 is just the right height to work with this keyboard, so I don't have to go and replace that. Well, at least not yet. The battery life is also good. Like I previously indicated, I do have the backlight turned off, so this will play a part in how long the battery will last. I haven't yet had to charge it from when I took it out of the box, so for now, I can't say how long it will last, but it's been roughly 8 days since I started using it. Now, whilst the keyboard is excellent to use, the only things I don't like are the app to configure the keyboard only works on Chrome-based web browsers. I would like to see an option for it to work with Firefox and Safari in the future. Second is the backlighting, but that's more of a personal preference than an issue. I just prefer to keep it turned off. Lastly, the USB extension adapter, in my opinion, should come with an additional cable, as you need to supply your own or use the one included in the box. I don't use it, but if you wanted to carry on using the keyboard wirelessly and charge it at the same time, you would need 2 cables. A workaround would be to unplug the included wire from the adapter and plug it into the keyboard and switch to the wired mode, but that might be an issue for some. So to wrap this up, it's a very nice keyboard with a lot of customization options available, especially in terms of backlighting, keycaps, switches, layouts and macros. Would I recommend it to anybody that's looking to use it for work or productivity? Yes. I can't say anything about its potential for gaming though, as I don't use it for that, but it's very good for work and productivity. Oh, and I have replaced my MK750 keyboard with it, which is now relegated to just being a spare in a cupboard. If you like this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Until next time, have a nice day.